Hello, everybody. Welcome to Super Metroid: Searching for Items, or Search for Items. I don't remember what it actually is called because it's kind of been referred to as both. Um, I'm still joined by PW and Artix. They're going to be here for this, and this is going to be a relatively short project. Um, this hack is pretty ancient in the scope of Super Metroid hacks. It is from like 2005, and while it's not like the first hack ever, it is basically one of the first like hacks that would actually move around rooms and change layouts instead of just modifying the existing layout of Zebes. So you could kind of say this is the first full hack that existed, one of them, instead of half hacks, which were like I said, just kind of modifying existing Zebes layouts. But yeah, it's not very long, but we're gonna go ahead and go through this because it kind of holds a little bit of a special place in my heart as well. Like literally, if you go back to the start of my channel, I think this is the first LP video that I ever uploaded. LP of this hack was the first thing I ever really uploaded here. I don't recommend going and watching them, but go ahead if you really desire.
Is this more of a remake, a remaster, the HD port? What are we talking here?
Gosh, I don't know. The industry uses those terms so loosely. Retelling, maybe?
I was gonna say, I feel like this is a reimagining.
Is this a Persona 3 situation, or is this a Final Fantasy 7 situation?
Maybe more like a Samus Returns situation. Or like
yes,
an
I
RE4
see.
make. Yeah, the intro and stuff was not changed.
So
or
this is
anything.
going to completely cut out the worst part of that first upload you ever did.
Probably.
And instead it's gonna replace it with two new, equally terrible things. That's us. That's the joke.
It's true. Yeah, none of the intro and all that was changed. At this point, I'm not really sure what was like the scope of the editor. I joined this scene in like 2006, and the editor existed at that point, but I don't think it had hit 1.0. Regardless, this was made by a Japanese hacker. I don't know the name off the top of my head. I'll add it in post, I guess. I can put it in the thread. But yeah, here we go. We do have to still go through the Sarah Station intro. A lot of this was impossible to change at the time, or if it was, people just didn't do it. But like the main thing is that this hack still has 100% of items, but it's about like a quarter of the size of the original game.
Oh, so they just crammed like 30 items into one room. Got it.
I'm trying to remember.
It's like, have you ever seen like the Link to the Past randos, but they're set to something called ludicrous speed, so it just sets like 4 copies of everything in the world? That's what this hack is gonna be.
Pretty much. It's very quick. Also, other notes about like early hacking. The save stations in early hacks were often not usable. Save hacking had not actually been something we could do at the time. So save states were essentially required to play, though not for difficulty reasons. Like I wouldn't put this hack as actually being hard, but you just didn't really have a choice. Unique to this one, though, is that the save at the ship is broken. If you save at the ship and reload, it'll put you out of bounds. So we're just not going to do that.
I see.
I don't know. These old hacks have stuff to them. There's also a small chance that I have a version of the ROM that has a door crash as you go to Kraid, because that's what I used to have years and years ago, but I did download a fresh IPS patch just in case. somewhere out there was a version of this hack with credit to me on it as well, because I went and I skipped the room that caused the crash and just uploaded a fixed IPS patch for people. I don't think this is that, because I don't see my name anywhere on it, but whatever. Enough talk. It's time to play a game.
That's not how that quote goes. That's not how that quote goes at all.
Ugh.
Samus, how did you manage to park there?
Very carefully. This is a 3D space. Trying to remember.
I like the door tubes to nowhere.
Ah, it's here.
Listen, who doesn't appreciate a good door tube?
Mm-hmm. So now this is not the Super Metroid hack that we played years ago that gave us like 500 missiles upon first pickup. Maybe we should play that one at some point.
That one was
200% patriotism.
170% patriotism, thank you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I forgot my lore from like a decade ago.
But yeah, so this was, I guess, impressive at the time for being one that actually changes up the room layouts and the map and all that, while still being, you know, completable and just honestly all right.
Sometimes you need that historical context.
Yeah, because like Subversion, you can see the present day. This is, well, this is the beginning. And that can just be kind of interesting to go back and see. There's so many bad hacks from around this time period as well. Especially the ones that were the half hacks that I mentioned. So this one is actually like still playable. Like if you go onto Metroid Construction and search by ratings and like by release date and stuff, if you see the early ones, people have mostly been, you know, kind of harsh on them. But most of them rightfully so. They're just not great. This one still holds a like a 3.5 star out of 5 rating. So even though it's old, this one still has some merit to it. Any other one that I could have played was just like kind of not a good choice. Plus, there's a lot less to say about the half-hack ones, where it's like the same general map layout, but the room contents have been shifted around. They're not usually as interesting, because they become just like massive pixel hunts at times. Just twisting you across all the parts of Zebes.
How do we make this boss more difficult? Tiny room.
It's not even tiny room. They just, like, blocked off 2 tiles to the right.
There's bombs. But yeah, it's been a long time since I played this, but apparently I remember at least a little bit. I only tested to make sure that it was running.
I can't wait for whatever iteration of emulator you're currently on to be incapable of doing something because it's too good at emulation.
You know what? I should have loaded up ZSNES. I really should have.
I mean, that's what a lot of these were made for, aren't they?
Well, SNES 9X did exist at the time, I believe, but early versions of it. Frankly, if we were playing old Super Mario World hacks, there's a non-zero chance that some of them would, in fact, crash on this.
SNES 9X definitely existed around the time this would have been being made, because old Retsu praise live rent-free in my head, and one of them...
Yeah.
just has them constantly stopping and saying SNES 9X anytime a state is loaded.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one. But yeah, so it's like early Super Mario World hacks would have these problems because oh, we're not going for 100%. I don't care. Because what would end up occurring is the early music scene would use different like values for the echo buffer that were not console compatible, and as emulators got more accurate, that would start to cause crashes. If you try to play it like that.
No, I mean, like, that was only half a joke. I am actually well aware that hardware emulation can get to the point where it is, like, hacks are relying on the fact that emulation isn't perfect.
Yeah, like that's a lot less these days, but older ones, certainly.
Gotta say, it is a little weird the way a lot of these rooms are laid out and what is geometry and what isn't.
Yeah, like
I would have never tried to just jump straight through that wall.
the only reason I thought to was because like vague memory and looking at it and just being like, wait, the camera kind of shifted over that way.
This is why a unifying design language is very important, especially in ROM hacking.
Yeah, but this early, like these are the early frontiers of hacking, and so it's kind of like, well, what do we do? I don't know.
Like, I'm not saying every hack should be exactly the same, but like,
It's
there's
nice.
usually a reason people use certain things to represent certain ideas, even in hacks.
But you can see it's a very fast acquisition.
Gives you that dopamine hit every couple of seconds.
Yeah, the little... People don't like the fanfare anymore. Like, you can see, even in Subversion, the fanfare has been reduced in a lot of cases. And I get it. You play enough of these things, you don't want to hear it all the time, but... I don't know. Something about it. I like the fanfare. It is, in fact, like you said, just this dopamine.
Nintendo's sound team is really good at designing jingles that get you excited about the fact that you just picked up some piece of garbage that you don't actually need.
Like the 50th of the same thing you could find, yeah.
I think, like, Zero Mission and Fusion do it better in that you get the fanfare for, like, real pickups, but, like, when you get your 50th missile pack, it's just a little whoosh.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
And that's what people have kind of been moving towards.
I'm just thinking of, like, Zelda specifically, like, has the differentiation between big item and normal chest, basically.
Yeah. Big chest, little chest. And it's fun because then it's like, oh, I see a big chest. Especially in randomizer. Like, when you see that there's an item hanging out in a big chest in Ocarina Rando. Like, I like the chest sizes for that reason. But I think that, like, putting the fanfare on for at least the small, like, the first major item, or at least keeping it on for all major items, that's the way to handle it.
The first time you pick up missiles, and then never again. Just give you a little jingle after that, a quick one.
I don't even know where I need grapple.
I was gonna say, yeah, I realize this is a very small hack, but I definitely get that feeling of, you know, maybe we have gotten a few too many power-ups in very quick succession, and now it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah. But at least it's not like, at least there is still, like, some forward progression being done here. It's not like when you play a different randomizer and it's just like, okay, I just picked up my screw attack, and now no enemy can hurt me anymore. I was actually, in between playing Subversion and anything else, I've been playing some other ones to just kind of get a preview, like, oh, would this one be good for sitting down and playing for this small series? And so, I don't want to be here. I don't need to be here. I played one called Super Duper Metroid, and there's actually a video of me streaming it. I think PW was there for it. I don't know. It was a while back, a couple of years ago. And the problem with it, it's pretty good, but the problem with it that I encountered is that it's so open as a hack that you really don't have defined, like, places that you are supposed to go at any given time, except for, like, the very early game. Because before I even hit, like, halfway point, I stumbled into Meridia, found my way to Botwoon without Gravity Suit, fought him, got Gravity Suit, kept moving, fought Dragon, beat Dragon without much difficulty, and got Space Jump. And it's like, I didn't even have Varia Suit, I didn't have anything, like, important. And so I spent the rest of the game just kind of sitting there and flipping through rooms, defeating everything that came my way. And it was boring. Like, there is something to be said about freedom of exploration, but I think a true Metroidvania, a good Metroidvania, knows when to keep the player on rails, because then you can tailor that experience to be like, oh, there's something good coming your way.
There's also something to be said about keeping a consistent power curve.
Yeah.
Like, not the way some games fuck it up, where the reason you're getting better weapons is because you need them to actually remain on the level of the enemies. But, like, at least speeds up general stuff.
But yeah, so that was, like, it's not a bad hack, but it's just a little boring, as I said. Which is unfortunate, because there's clear tons of effort went into it. It has, like, it has a built-in randomizer function that you can use on a second playthrough. It's just, it's impressive. It looks good. It's a showcase for the whole for Project Base, which is a big base ROM system that people put together. So that it's just like, oh, you can have hello mini Kraid boss or something. Why do you have so many eggs?
You know what? Credit where it's due. I don't think I've ever seen them do that spitting attack, because they've never lived that long. So today we learned
A boss fight that is just scaling levels of Kraid. Do you have to destroy all the eggs?
No, I just needed to open the door. You have to defeat all the Kraids. But I can destroy the eggs.
Wow, I cannot believe that you were just destroying Kraid's entire species like
My
this.
god, I'm a monster.
Samus has decreed that Kraid will be no more after this.